As I waited in the visiting hall at Littlehey Prison in Cambridgeshire, I did not recognise the gaunt, shuffling figure in jeans and a sweatshirt who made his way towards me. But with me was the inmate's daughter, Louise, and she introduced us. "David," she said, "meet Dad." Max Clifford Our interview took place on November the 14th, 3.5 years after Clifford began an 8-year sentence for sexually assaulting 4 girls, the youngest just 15, in the 1970s and 1980s. He had lost at least 3 st, and there was little physical trace of the brash and ruddy-faced fitness fanatic who once controlled the destinies of celebrities and Fleet Street editors alike. What I could have known was that I was the last journalist that Clifford, 74, would ever meet. Last Sunday morning, 3 weeks after our interview, he died following a cardiac arrest in hospital, having twice collapsed in his cell the previous week. Yet though his illness was palpable, he had, as always, a message he wanted to deliver to the public, one that he hoped would make sensational headlines in the newspapers he fed for so long. "I'm innocent," he insisted. "And when my appeal comes up, my lawyers are going to present fresh evidence that will prove it." Little by little, in the course of our 2-hour meeting, Clifford began to relax. His legs were badly swollen, and the least exertion made him short of breath.But, the ability to turn on the charm, which he used to become Britain's pre-eminent media manipulator, and, arguably, the man who invented fake news, had not deserted him. When he reflected on one of his career's more notorious headlines, the Sun's front page claiming comedian Freddie Starr had eaten the hamster, he chuckled at the story that was as sensational as it was untrue. This, of course, is a man who became rich by peddling lies, half-truths and exaggerations, and sometimes worked equally hard to keep stories that were totally accurate out of the news, such as the affair between Princess Diana and James Hewitt. A few days before Clifford's arrest in 2012, he gave an address at the Oxford Union, saying, "A lot of the lies that you see in the newspapers, in the magazines, on television, on the radio, are mine." No, he admitted to me, it wasn't actually true, that the then-Tory Minister David Mellor made love to his mistress, Antonia de Sancha, wearing a Chelsea football strip. Yet Clifford was, he implausibly insisted, a knight in shining armour to Ms de Sancha, and the many other women whose kiss and tell stories he brokered. After all, the flat where she and Mellor met had been bugged by its owner, someone she thought was a friend, and the story was coming out anyway. was about to start a national tour, and the story made of the sellout. I guess the British public had a sense of humour. His 2014 trial, the evidence against him was overwhelming. The jury heard how he induced young girls to perform sex acts by hinting he could fix their entry into show business and abuse them in his Bond Street office or in a distinctive yellow Jaguar. On one occasion, she said, when he was abusing her in the Jag, he told her there was a photographer hidden in the bushes taking pictures, warning that if she told anyone what had happened, they could be published. After the trial, the victim said the trauma had been so great that it had led her to contemplate suicide. The jury convicted Clifford of sexually assaulting 4 women, but the judge said he believed a further 6 who were called as supporting witnesses were also telling the truth. Clifford would also have faced trial for abusing a girl who was only 12 when he attacked her in a jacuzzi, but the assault took place in Spain, outside the court's jurisdiction. During his trial, Clifford seemed to fail to appreciate the seriousness of the charges. He was even filmed clowning around behind a TV reporter who was presenting a report on the case outside the court. Why did he behave in such a way when facing the most appalling charges? Clifford said, "I'd had weeks of being called the most revolting, heinous things. So, maybe you can understand, as to why the allegations were made in the first place," he added. "You have to understand, this happened in the wake of the Jimmy Savile revelations. The climate was one where the police were saying that if anyone came forward with allegations of this kind, they would be believed. But how can we believe a man who became rich feeding wild fantasies to the voracious red top press? Even while protesting his innocence, he seemed bizarrely preoccupied with the newspaper stories that had been written about him around the time of the trial. His appraisal of the hostile coverage his case inevitably attracted seemed skewed. The Sun, he said, had been especially critical of him because he had successfully sued its owner Rupert Murdoch's company for hacking his phone and was eventually offered a £1 million settlement. "I know I've upset him, and that's uncomfortable. Clifford said .It is now largely forgotten that Clifford handled non-celebrity scoops involving the criminal justice system, such as the use by the Metropolitan Police of undercover officers to infiltrate lawful protest groups, and, with what now looks like extraordinary irony, became an advocate of prison reform, helping to publicize the harsh conditions of many of our jails. At that time, of course, he did not imagine he would spend the end of his life experiencing prison firsthand. Last week, after his death, I posted a tweet revealing something he told me, that for 6 weeks there had often been no hot water or heating on his wing, where most of the inmates were aged over 70 and the oldest was in his mid-90s. I see men in their 80s and 90s watching TV in their overcoats, and it breaks my heart. Sources I spoke to after our meeting in Littlehey said the fresh evidence Clifford's lawyers plan to submit at his appeal is credible and compelling, adding that he would not be the first famous person to face false allegations, even if some of the charges against him were true. In essence, his appeal will rest on evidence that casts doubt on the details of his victims' accounts. For example, one woman said she was assaulted in Clifford's Jaguar Sports Ground car park. New witnesses say this cannot have happened because the ground was always locked when not in use. It will be for the court to determine whether this evidence renders his convictions unsafe. A final, explosive story to top his biggest scoops. What is certain is that Clifford went to his grave determined to land the big explosive.